Good morning viewers, myself I am K. Bhaskar. I am working as assistant professor in Department of Chemistry at SRR Government Arts and Science College, Karimnagar. In this video presentation, I am going to give a presentation on the topic amines, functional group amines, right? And here in the slide you can see these are the learning outcomes. By the end of the video session, we are going to learn about these concepts, that is introduction to the amines, what are amines and their nomenclature, as well isomerism in amines, classification of amines. At the last you can see preparation of amines. By the end of this video session we are going to learn these concepts, right? Before going into this topic, here is a question for you, that is, why to study the amines topic? What are the uses of these amines? The answer is, amines are widely used in various areas, in pharmaceutical industry as well as in chemical industry, in textile and as well as garment industry, in water purification, as well as in dye industry. In this way we use these amines, right? Amines are widely used in various sectors, which we will see one by one in the coming slides. You see here, amines are widely used in textile as well as garment industry, because you see our amines, aromatic amines especially, will form azo compounds, which are colored compounds. They are the key ingredients in making the material dyes, right? As well, our amines, especially hexamethylene diamine, which will undergo condensation with the adipic acid to form polymer called nylon 66. This nylon 66 is very much important material in textile industry, which with we can prepare various garments also. So in this way our amines are key ingredients in material dyes, and as well as these amines are very much useful in textile industry as well as in garment industry for making azo colored derivatives. You see in the picture, these amines are also very much helpful in the developing process of photographs, right? And coming to the pharmaceutical applications of amines, you see amines are also widely used in pharmaceutical industries. The first example you see Novocaine. This is the anesthetic which we use during the operations, and as well amines are also very much important in analgesic medicines like Demerol as well as morphine. These are the analgesic medicines that are painkillers, in which we use amines. As well, our amines are also very much useful as a solvents in diphenhydramine, which is used as a solvent. Of course, this is you see here in this the Benadryl. This is the antihistamine syrup in which we use this diphenhydramine along with amines as the solvent. In this way, in pharmaceutical industry, amines are widely used in various drug preparations like Novocaine, that is anesthesia, morphine and Demerol, these are analgesic, that are painkillers. Benadryl, this is the antihistamine syrup. Of course, these amines are also very much important in protection of crops. They are very much useful to control the pests. Amines are useful in protecting the crops That means they are very much useful to control the pests, right? And coming to the another application of amines, our amines are also useful in chemical processing industries where these amines are used as inhibitors to stop the corrosion of the boilers. You can see in the picture, to stop the corrosion, our amines are used as inhibitors in chemical processing industries, right? This is a very important application. Coming to the another use of amines, our amines are also very much useful in disinfection of the drinking water, right? In disinfection of the drinking water also our amines are very much useful. Coming to the another application of amines, amines are also useful as emulsifying agents because our quaternary ammonium salts have both the polar end as well as non-polar end. Because of this dual nature, they are useful as emulsifying agents to remove the oil stains on the clothes, and as well they are useful in phase transfer catalysis, right? To transfer the reagents from one phase to the another phase, thereby it will increase the rate of reaction, right? You can see these are the applications of amines. Amines are very much useful to remove the carbon dioxide from combustion gases. These are key ingredients for material dye preparation used in textile and as well as garment industry. Amines are also very much useful as emulsifiers. Of course, we use these amines in industry to inhibit the corrosion as well as the lubricant oils. We find these amines very much useful in developing of the photographs. They are very much useful in disinfecting the drinking water. These are largely used in pharmaceutical industry. These are the examples: morphine and Demerol. These are the analgesics that are painkillers. Novocaine, this is the anesthetic drug. And we have also seen Benadryl, this is the antihistamine drug in which we will use the amines as a solvent. Amines are also very much useful in protecting the crops. These are also find their use in the personal care products, as well as they play a significant role in the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin. It will control the feelings of hunger, right? And finally, this is an important source for amino acids which regulates the vitamins in the body, right? In this way, we find applications of amines in various sectors. Because of these applications, as a chemist, one need to discuss these amines, their nomenclature, their classification, their preparation and properties, right? There is a question for you: what is a functional group? This is a basic question. Functional group is nothing but due to the presence of the group and an atom, the compound gets characteristic properties. That means these functional groups defines the properties of the compound, right? Now in this video presentation we are going to discuss about the amine functional group. That means due to the presence of amine group, that means due to the presence of amine group, what type of special properties will the compound acquires, right? Coming to the amines, the amine definition is nothing but the amines are regarded as derivatives of ammonia. That means by the replacement of hydrogen atoms in the ammonia with the alkyl groups, we will get amines. When we replace one hydrogen from the ammonia with the alkyl group, we will get the alkyl amine. These are the amines. Amines are regarded as derivatives of ammonia. By the replacement of hydrogen atoms in the ammonia with the alkyl groups, we will get amines. You see in the slide, NH2 group, this is called amine functional group. Due to the presence of this amine functional group in the compound acquires characteristic properties, right? And of course we can also replace the 3 hydrogen atoms in the ammonia to get the monoalkyl amines, dialkyl amines, trialkyl amines, methylamine, dimethylamine, trimethylamine, which we get by the replacement of hydrogen atoms of the ammonia with the methyl groups. Coming to the classification of amines. Amines are classified into 3 types depending upon the number of alkyl groups attached to the nitrogen atom. Right? You see in this primary amine, in this the nitrogen atom is attached to 1 alkyl group. Secondary amine, in this the nitrogen atom is attached to 2 alkyl groups. Finally, tertiary amine, in this the nitrogen atom is attached to 3 alkyl groups. In this way, depending upon the number of alkyl groups attached to the nitrogen atom, the amines are classified into 3 types: primary amines, secondary amines, tertiary amines, right? So we can say that these are the characteristic groups which we see in the primary amine, secondary amine and tertiary amines, right? In primary amines, NH2 is the characteristic group. In secondary amines, NH is the characteristic group. In tertiary amines, N is the characteristic group, right? And of course, apart from this type of classification, there is another type of amine, that is quaternary amine, that is quaternary ammonium salts. You can see in this slide, in this the nitrogen atom is connected to 4 alkyl groups, thereby the nitrogen gets deficiency, which is nothing but ammonium salt. This is tetramethyl ammonium chloride, right? This is an example of a quaternary ammonium salt, quaternary ammonium hydroxides or quaternary ammonium chloride, quaternary ammonium iodide. In this way, this is the 4th category of amines. Totally we will see 4 types. One is primary, secondary, tertiary amines. The 4th one is quaternary ammonium salts, right? And now let us try to understand the nomenclature of amines, right? Amines based on the IUPAC rules, this amine group is always treated as a substituent, right? We will give the amine, we will right. Now let us discuss the nomenclature of amines. According to IUPAC rule, generally the functional groups are treated as a right. Now let us try to discuss the nomenclature of amines. According to IUPAC rules, we give the IUPAC nomenclature. It consists of 4 parts. One is prefix, in which we'll mention the substituents, followed by root word, which decides the number of carbon atoms in the main chain, that is alk, followed by prefix, that is suffix, primary suffix, which indicates the nature of unsaturation, finally followed by secondary suffix, which indicates the functional group in the compound, right? According to IUPAC rules, some functional groups are treated as substituents. They are mentioned in the prefix. They are not mentioned at secondary suffix. They are mentioned in the substituent. They are treated as substituent and mention their name in the prefix. For example, halides, nitro, amines. These are the 3 functional groups which we treat them as a substituent and give their name in the prefix as the substituents according to the IUPAC nomenclature. So in this way, our amines are treated as substituents and mention their name as a substituent in the prefix, that is aminoalkanes. IUPAC name of amines is amino alkanes. Right, the first one, that is amino methane, because it contains 2 carbon atoms. Second one is amino propane, this chain contains 3 carbon atoms. Fourth one, that is amino butane, this chain contains 4 carbon atoms. Finally, you can see the fourth example, the amino group is at second position having 3 carbon atoms, that is 2 amino propane. Finally, the last one is in this, the main chain consists of 3 carbon atoms having 2 substituents. One is amino group at first position, methyl group at second position, that is 1 amino 2 methyl propane. In this way we will give the name of the amine as amino alkanes, right? And let us try to give the nomenclature for secondary amines. Secondary amines are nothing but, in this the nitrogen atom is attached to 2 alkyl groups. For that we will give the name as alkyl amino alkanes. In this the substituent is N-alkyl amino alkanes, right? You see here, the first one, in this one methyl group is treated as substituent on amino group, that is methyl amino methane. The second one, that is ethyl amino ethane. In the third one, here we have to choose the main chain having more number of carbon atoms, that is 2 carbon atoms as a main chain, having 2 carbons, that is ethane, and remaining methyl containing amino group as the substituent, that is methyl amino ethane. It is very important to note here that we should not name this compound as ethyl amino methane, because always we need to choose the more number of carbon atoms in the main chain, right? Less number of carbon atoms as the substituent. So in this way we will give this compound name as methyl amino ethane. Coming to the tertiary amines, the name is dialkyl amino as the substituent followed by alkane, that is dialkyl amino alkanes. The first compound dimethyl amino methane. In the second one dimethyl amino ethane. Third one methyl ethyl amino propane. I have already mentioned you that we have to choose the more number of carbon atoms in the main chain, remaining alkyl groups as the substituent on the nitrogen, that is amino group. In this way the name of the compound, the last compound, will get it as ethyl methyl amino propane, right? Always we should give the substituents in alphabetical manner, ethyl methyl amino propane, right? And coming to the common name for these amines, it is very simple. We should give the alkyl followed by amine, right? We should give the name of the alkyl followed by amine, alkyl amine. This is the common name, that is ethylamine, propylamine, butylamine, isopropylamine, isobutylamine, right? Coming to the secondary amines, dialkyl amine is the common name, dimethylamine, diethylamine, ethyl methylamine. In this way simply we have to give the alkyl name followed by amine. Tertiary amines, trialkyl amine. If different alkyl groups are present, we need to pronounce all the alkyls name in the alphabetical manner followed by amine. The last one you see here, ethyl methyl propyl amine. This is given based on the alphabetical sequence, that is ethyl methyl propyl amine, right? And coming to the isomerism in amines. What is isomerism? It is a phenomenon of existence of more than 2 compounds having same chemical formula but which they differ in their properties are called as isomers. The concept is called isomerism. Amines also exhibit various isomers which we see in detail. That is, our amines exhibit chain isomerism. You see the first pair, that is butylamine and isobutylamine. In this, both the compounds are having same chemical formula but they differ in their chain. Yes or no? In the first compound, in the main chain, it is having 4 carbon atoms, that is aminobutane. In the second one, it is having 3 carbon atoms in the main chain, that is 1 amino 2 methyl propane. So these are the structural isomers which differ in their chain are called as chain isomers. Our amines exhibit a chain isomerism. Coming to the positional isomers. These positional isomers have same chain, but they differ in the position of the substituent. That is, here in the first group, the main chain is having 3 carbon atoms. Second also it is having 3 carbon atoms. Both are having same main chain, propane. But in the first one, the amino substituent is at first position, that is 1 amino propane. The second one, it is 2 amino propane, right? In this way, here it is a very key important statement. Note that always we cannot see positional isomers with different chains. Always positional isomers have same chain, right? Coming to the another type of isomers which exhibit by amines. Amines also exhibit a functional group isomerism. You see, in the first one, that is propylamine. Second one, it is methyl ethylamine, ethyl methylamine. Third one, it is trimethylamine. All these 3 compounds are having same chemical formula, but in the first one it is primary amine, second one it is secondary amine, third one it is tertiary amine, right? In this way, all the 3 compounds are having same chemical formula, but they differ in their functional group. First one it is having primary amine, second one it is having secondary amine, third one it is having tertiary amine. Such type of structural isomers having same chemical formula which differ in the functional groups are called as functional group isomers. Finally, our isomers, our amines will also exhibit metamers. What are metamers? Having same chemical formula, but they differ in the number of alkyl groups. They differ in the alkyl groups having a number of carbon atoms on the either sides of the functional group. You see, in the first one, this is the secondary amine connected to ethyl alkyl groups on both sides. Whereas in the second example, our secondary amine, on one side it is having methyl group, on other side it is having propyl group. That means there is the difference in the number of carbons on the either sides of the functional group. Such type of isomers are called as metamers. In this way, finally we can say that our amines exhibit chain isomerism, positional isomerism, functional isomerism, as well as metamerism, right? Coming to the classification based on the nature of a alkyl group, right? Here, if the NH2 is attached to the aliphatic hydrocarbon, then such type of amines are called as aliphatic aminoalkanes. If the hydrocarbon is of aromatic in nature, if NH2 group is directly attached to the carbon atom of a aromatic hydrocarbon, such type of amines are called as aromatic aminoalkanes, right? Aromatic amines, aliphatic amines, right? Of course, you should not confuse here. In the last example, even though it is having aromatic ring in it, this is correctly called as aryl substituted aminoalkanes, but not as aromatic amines, because in this the NH2 group is not directly attached to the aromatic ring carbon, right? It is attached to the aliphatic CH2 group, that is benzyl carbon. So in this way we will see the amines are of 2 types, aromatic, aliphatic, right? Here is a question for you. Identify the type of the following amines, right? Look at these 3 amines and try to identify the type of these amines. You should not confuse here. All the 3 amines are of primary in nature, right? Because in all the 3 amines, the nitrogen is connected to only one alkyl group. Yes? Yes. Of course, in the first one, in this, it is having primary carbon. In the second one, it is having secondary carbon. In the third one, it is having tertiary carbon. All the 3 are primary amines, because in these 3 amines, N is connected to only one alkyl group. But you should not confuse here. Here the nature of carbon, of course, in the first one, the nature of carbon connected to the amine group is primary. The nature of carbon connected to in the second one, the nature of carbon is secondary. In the third one, it is tertiary. So in this way, we can say that all the 3 amines are primary. But In the first example, it is having primary carbon. In the second example, NH2 group is connected to secondary carbon. In the third example, our NH2 group is connected to tertiary carbon, right? Don't confuse, right? Right. Now, let us discuss the preparation of amines. By the reaction of alkyl halides with ammonia, we will get the primary, secondary, tertiary along with the quaternary ammonium salts, right? Let us see. When we subject the aqueous or alcoholic solution of ammonia with the alkyl halide upon heating in a sealed tube at higher temperatures like 100 degrees Celsius, we will get the amines. You see in this, in the ammonia, the first step, ammonia is treated with the ethyl halide. In this, one hydrogen is replaced by ethyl group to give ethylamine, that is primary amine, which will further undergoes alkylation to give diethylamine, that is secondary amine. When this secondary amine again treated with excess of alkyl halide, that is ethyl halide, it will further undergoes alkylation to give tertiary amine, that is triethylamine, which upon further alkylation with the ethyl halide, we will get the tetraethyl ammonium halide, that is quaternary ammonium salt. In this way, by this preparation method, we can prepare the primary, secondary, tertiary as well as quaternary ammonium salts. Of course, no doubt, when we use excess of ammonia in this method, we will get primary amine as the main product, right? Similarly, when we react the alcohols, when we react the alcohol with ammonia, we will get the all the three type of amines along with the quaternary ammonium salt. You see here, when a mixture of vapors of alcohol and ammonia is passed over the heated alumina at 350 degrees Celsius, we will get all the three mixtures of three amines, that is primary, secondary, tertiary amines as well as quaternary ammonium salt is formed in this reaction. The first one, you see methanol, when we treat this with ammonia at higher temperature, when we pass it over the heated alumina, we will get the methylamine. Second, we will get the secondary amine. Third, we will get the tertiary amine. When this tertiary amine further undergoes alkylation, when we treat it with the methanol under heating condition, we will get the quaternary ammonium hydroxide, right? Of course, in this method also, we will get the primary amine as the main product by using the large excess of ammonia, right? Coming to the third method, that is Gabriel-Thallamide synthesis, that is Gabriel-Thallamide reaction, which is also known as Gabriel synthesis. In this, the reactant is thalamide. When this thalamide is treated with a base, that is potassium hydroxide, it will give potassium salt of thalamide, because in this our thalamide will act as an acid, because in this, due to the presence of two electron withdrawing groups, that is C double bond O carbonyl group, the NH bond will become weak and will exhibit acidity, acidic nature. When this thalamide is subjected to base, this compound loses H plus ion to form salt, that is potassium salt of thalamide. Generally amines acts as base, but here in this case, due to the presence of the two electron withdrawing groups, our thalamide will act as a acid, right? Acid reacts with base to give salt, that is potassium salt of thalamide, which on heating with the alkyl halide, it undergoes alkylation to give N-alkyl thalamide, right? You can see the salt of phthalimide undergoing alkylation to give N-alkyl phthalimide as the product. This N-alkyl phthalimide later on hydrolysis with 20% hydrochloric acid under high pressure, it will give phthalic acid as the side product and primary amine as the main product. In this way, when the phthalimide is subjected to base followed by heating with the alkyl halide, then followed by hydrolysis, we will get the primary amine as the product. Here it is a key note for you that in this method we can only prepare the primary amines. We cannot prepare secondary and tertiary amines, right? Coming to the fourth method, that is Schmidt reaction. In this, the carboxylic acid is the reactant. When this carboxylic acid is subjected to hydrozoic acid in acid medium, that is sulfuric acid, it will give primary amine as the main product. And if you look at the mechanism, it involves the rearrangement reaction. You can see here the carboxylic acid upon protonation loses water molecule to give acyl cation. This acyl cation further this acyl cation further combines with the hydrozoic acid. You can see here this is the structure of hydrozoic acid, right? This acyl cation will combines with the hydrozoic acid to form that intermediate. This intermediate loses nitrogen, which is a easy leaving group, followed by loss of H plus ion, that is proton. It will give acyl nitrene as the intermediate, right? In the third step, you can clearly see that the intermediate will loses nitrogen as well as proton to give acyl nitrene. This acyl nitrene, if you see this acyl nitrene, the formation of acyl nitrene is also takes place via concerted mechanism. That means simultaneously loses nitrogen as well as proton to form acyl nitrene in a single step. Instead of two steps, it will also undergo single step, that is called concerted mechanism. In this way, we will get the acyl nitrene in the single step from the starting material, right? This acyl nitrene will involve in the rearrangement to give alkyl isocyanate. In this, there is a rearrangement of alkyl group connected to the carbonyl carbon to the nitrogen atom. Thereby, we will get the alkyl isocyanate. This rearrangement is called as a Schmidt rearrangement, right? This alkyl isocyanate will further undergoes hydrolysis to give N-carbamic acid, which upon hydrolysis will give primary amine as the product. In this way, the carboxylic acid, upon treating with the hydrozoic acid in presence of acid medium, we will get the primary amine as the product. Of course, this ketene, this is alkyl isocyanate. This alkyl isocyanate has synthetic applications. You can see here this is not a ketene, this is alkyl isocyanate. Alkyl isocyanate upon hydrolysis we will get the primary amine. When we treat it with the ammonia, we will get the urea, that is alkyl substituted urea. When this alkyl isocyanate treated with alcohol, we will get the urethanes, right? These are the synthetic uses of alkyl isocyanate, right? Coming to the fifth method of preparation of amine, this is the one of the most convenient method for the preparation of primary amines. This reaction involves action of bromine, that is halogen, and alkali on amides to form primary amine with one carbon atom less, right? This is the named reaction, that is Hofmann reaction. It involves a rearrangement, therefore it is called as Hofmann rearrangement reaction. So Hofmann rearrangement reaction involves preparation of primary amines from the amide. This Hofmann reaction is very much useful method for degrading a compound by one carbon atom less. If you look at the mechanism, if you try to write the product, very simple. We have to remove the carbonyl group and connect the NH2 group to the adjacent alkyl group. This involves degradation, right? This is the Hofmann degradation of amides. Simple. In this reaction, we have to remove the carbonyl group and write the product. And if you look at the mechanism, the first step involves the formation of a OBr minus ion, right? Potassium hydroxide reacts with bromine to give hypohalous acid, right, which will undergo dissociation to liberate proton and to give that base, that is OBr minus, right? In the second step, this involves formation of a anion, right? This amide loses H plus ion in presence of base to form anion. In the third step, the formed anion will involve in the halogenation to give N-halo amide, right? N-halo amide, that is N-bromo amide. In the fourth step, this involves the reaction of N-bromo amide. This N-bromo amide reacts with the potassium hydroxide, which removes hydrogen atom as the water to form the anion. In the fifth step, this involves the separation of halide ion, that is bromide ion, to form a species having electron deficient nitrogen atom, that is acyl nitrene, right? This electron deficient intermediate formed is called as acyl nitrene. In this, the acyl group is connected to the nitrogen atom having two lone pairs, that is acyl nitrene. This acyl nitrile in the further sixth step undergoes migration of alkyl group from the carbon atom to the nitrogen atom. This is a rearrangement step which involves the migration of alkyl group from the carbon to the nitrogen atom to form alkyl isocyanate as the product, right? This alkyl isocyanate formed in the sixth step will further undergoes hydrolysis in the seventh step to form primary amine as the product. In this way, in the Hofmann rearrangement reaction, we will get the primary amine as the main product with one carbon atom less to that of the reactant taken, that is amide, right? Coming to the sixth method of preparation of amines. Usually we can get the amines by reducing variety of functional groups like nitroethane. When we subject this with the lithium aluminum hydride or tin in presence of HCl, we will get the primary amine, that is aminoethane as the product. Of course, the amides will also undergo reduction with lithium aluminum hydride to give primary amines. Cyanates will also undergo reduction in presence of sodium ethanol, that is Baviel-Blanc reduction, to give primary amine as a product. And finally, oximes, that is aldoximes or ketoximes, both will undergo reduction with the sodium and alcohol to give primary amine as the product. In this way, by reducing these functional groups, we will get the amine as the product, right? And if you try to summarize what we have learned in this video presentation about the aminoalkanes, the important points are: amines are regarded as the derivatives of ammonia, in which we will get the amines by the replacement of hydrogen atoms from the ammonia with the alkyl groups. The amines are classified into three types: depending upon the number of alkyl groups attached to the nitrogen atom. Those are primary, secondary, tertiary amines. In addition to these three types of amines, there is another category, that is tetraalkyl ammonium salts, that is quaternary ammonium salts. And we give the name, that is nomenclature of amines. The common name is alkyl amine. IUPAC name is aminoalkane. Amines involves in isomerism. These amines involves in a chain isomerism, positional isomerism, metamerism, as well as functional group isomerism. And we have also seen the various preparation methods, out of which the important methods are Hofmann degradation method, as well as Gabriel synthesis and Schmid reaction, right? And we have also seen the various applications of amines. We use amines in various sectors. Amines are most widely used in pharmaceutical industry, and amines are also important source of amino acids. One of the most common uses of amines is in gas treatment. We can use the amines to remove the carbon dioxide from combustion gases. Amines are key ingredients in preparation of material dyes, right? These are used as emulsifiers and inhibitors of corrosion in boilers, in chemical processing industries, as well as these are widely used in developing the chemicals for crop protection and water purification. Like this, we use amines in various sectors, right? And I think right now you are feeling comfort with what we have learned in this video presentation, that is about the aminoalkanes. Finally, if you have any doubts, please post your questions in the comment section. There your questions will be answered. Thank you for going through the video presentation. Finally, here is a proverb for you: nurture the nature for the future. Thank you.